Well, good afternoon and welcome to the Idahoan Show. You know, every once in a while I'll get a comment on one or another of my videos about my beard. It seems that there's a few people out there who are strangely surprised or even offended by it. And this kind of surprises me. I mean, it's true that many primitive cultures promoted disfiguring the human body in one way or another because they considered it fashionable to do so. In ancient China, it was, women's foot binding. In parts of Africa, it was earlobe stretching or neck stretching. In medieval Britain and certain other ancient cultures, it was scraping off all of your facial hair. But out here in the American West and throughout much of the modernized world, I would have thought that we would have gotten past any such barbaric practices by now, or at least past promoting them. And, it kind of begs the question of why did these ancient peoples consider shaving fashionable to begin with? Was it an attempt to create a facade of eternal youth, kind of a rebellion against the natural process of growing up? Was it perhaps an attempt to blur the distinction between male and female? A rebellion against the created order of natural gender roles? It would appear from the scriptures that in early Judeo-Christian culture, a person's hair was considered sort of symbolic of their dignity. And so shaving, usually of your whole head, was only done as a sign of severe grief or repentance. And then the regrowth of the hair would symbolize the period of restoration that would follow an episode of severe grief or repentance. So extrapolating that cultural principle, was it ever perhaps a way of divesting men of all their dignity and never giving it back, never restoring them to a place of respect? Now, whether any of these things were significant factors in making shaving fashionable in any particular ancient culture is probably lost to history. But all of these things, I'd say, are disturbingly prevalent in certain elements of secular culture today. I mean, there's definitely an element of American popular culture that would seek to idolize youth and disregard the importance of maturity. There's definitely a movement within certain sectors of American culture to blur the distinction between male and female. If we look at the mainstream media, it seems like in movies and such, men are almost invariably portrayed as being either effeminate, undignified, or both. And so it definitely seems like there's an element of American culture, or a movement within the media at least, to strip men of all their dignity and never give it back, never restore them to a place of respect. Oh, and one of my viewers pointed out that because humans are less hairy than apes, clearly hairlessness is a trait that is favored by the evolutionary process, and therefore shaving is a way to accelerate your evolutionary advancement, or more accurately, being clean-shaven is a way to show your support for the doctrines of evolutionism. Well, I'm certainly not a supporter of evolutionism, and really I kind of stand in opposition to all of these cultural movements that I've mentioned. So I guess you could say that in my case, wearing a beard is somewhat symbolic of my dedication to pursue godly masculinity and maturity. I hope this answers any questions you may have had on the subject. Thank you for watching the Idahoan Show.